Hello, I am your new favorite, JJ Caballero, and this is Mono Stereo Video, a podcast about movie music. I'm a songwriter, producer, DJ, and I love movies. And this is the perfect excuse to get... This is the perfect excuse to talk about movies, especially with my favorite, Casey Goins, the lovely Goins.
I tried so hard not to laugh. Hello, everybody.
This one's staying in. It's because I like, as I was saying this, I consciously had this idea. I was like, no, I have a way to make it more like where it's both of us, and then fucking, and I fucked it up.
You know what? I feel like because since we watched Stepford Wives last night, it was like you had a glitch. You reminded me of Faith Hill. I'm like, oh.
Aye. I just started walking backwards.
Yeah. What was it that she kept saying over and over? Do-si-do. Do-si-do. Oh, man, that teared up.
Aye. Well, welcome to Mono Stereo Video. I'm keeping that in. I'm keeping all that in because we made Casey cry. That's funny.
Okay,
No, yeah, that's all good. It's been an eventful day. Casey got to eat with her mom and her sister after she did their hair.
Mm-hmm.
She brought me some little mini calzones
From Artivino.
from Artivino's and a salad.
Mm-hmm.
How was your lunch?
It was good. I got full pretty quick though.
Yeah.
But that salad was really good, especially because I got to have it with all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We usually take out the olives and the onions for
Mhm.
Javi, but I got to have all the
Mhm.
onions and all the olives.
My stomach's like making little gurgles right now too. It's like
the
yeah,
leafies.
that's all that shit.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while since we've just had leafies all day, so that's why I know I'm like, okay.
We had a salad. What when we had pizza?
No, I know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like that many times in a row or like consecutive like that.
I see. Yeah, I
Mhm.
see. Anyway, welcome to Mono Stereo Video. This week, well, thank you for listening to last week's Monster of the Week episode, and thank you for finishing off the Cyberpunk series with us. We've had good feedback from it, and the numbers are running up. You guys are liking the podcast, and we thank you very much for that. It's very cool to see people listen to this stuff, actually. And today, we are beginning a new little mini series on 3 movies by Gaspar Noé and their subsequent soundtracks. Disclaimer. So I thought the music in this one in particular was gonna be way better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remembered more.
It was like a dance.
I remembered more of that. I remember more Dance Party, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that's gonna be cool. We'll do Enter the Void, we'll do Love, because it's horny, and then we'll do fucking Climax, because it's scary and horny.
See, Climax is more of like, that one has all
That
the good
one,
music.
I mean, that's basically where I wanted
like a big music video.
That's why I wanted to aim towards Climax, because I want to watch it again. It's like, well, might as well fucking do it for the podcast again. That'd be fun. And then Love, because it's got some fucking good ass, like, it's got John Frusciante and shit in it. So that was just an excuse for that. But officially, this movie and Love don't have like original motion picture soundtracks that are like compilations compiled.
Yeah.
It's not even like how a lot of ours are, you know, there's some that are on there, some songs that are on here and some songs that are not, but it's not even like that. I don't think they even like released like a collection of it. It was just what people pulled from as they were going through, and then in the opening credits of this one, he lists all the, like, you could see the songs, you could see all the artists and stuff.
I feel like all the credits, like, he just did them all at the beginning.
He's like, I'm getting it out of the way so that I can just, he pummels you. That's the Gaspar Noé way. And that's why I wanted to talk about these. But I mean, disclaimer, this one, like, the music, I'm gonna post, like, if you had a hard time finding the soundtracks, as we did too, and I'm going to post all of the our playlist for this one, and then all the other playlists that I found that compile like all the other music. I think there's one that has like everything completely. That's well, but everything was kind of like Schadenfreude a little bit. Everything was kind of like everywhere. And then for Love 2, after this, maybe today and tomorrow, I'm gonna compile the music that's on the Love soundtrack so that I could also post in the show notes, so that you're prepared for next week's episode. So that's what I'm gonna do for that. But we are, and then for climax, there's some songs that are on like collected on the streaming services, and there's some songs that aren't. It's gonna be like a Twilight situation or something.
Okay.
But yeah. So Enter the Void. Enter the fucking void. Enter the. What did you think of Enter the Void, my love?
So, Enter the Void was extremely hard for me to watch. And it was mostly because I was so tired already. Like, I was just already in general so sleepy and lethargic. And, like, this movie's so intense. So, you would think that it's gonna, like, you know what I mean? But it's
Casey,
like, if it. Okay.
Casey's
so, there was a lot of repetitive scenes, or it was just like where the camera would go back and forth and back and forth. And you're looking at the same scene, but you're just seeing it from these angles because the camera's going from one side to the other side and then back to the other side. So for me, like stuff like that either makes me nauseated or it puts me to sleep.
I was very worried about that it was going to make you nauseated.
The beginning of the movie when there was more like swirling of the camera, that I can't do, where it's just spinning. But the panning from side to side like didn't bother me, but it's just like after a while, like you're literally watching these people like interact like you're a fly on the wall. So like, you know what I mean? Like seeing it back like that, and then it's kind of muffled, and then you're like, it is a sensory overload, but I feel like since I was already so exhausted, like my body couldn't handle it, and I was just like dead.
Casey's the only person I've ever known to fall asleep through Gaspar Noé films. Like that's what.
Not all of them.
I know. But I had to keep like, hey.
They were toward like halfway, and then towards the end,
it's a long one.
I couldn't anymore.
It's 161 minutes. It was long. It was longer than I've seen it a few times. Personally,
I think I've seen it at least two times for sure, maybe 3 or 4. But it was. I feel like this was one of those movies that somebody put on when I was at a party or somewhere. And it was just like, oh, I'm going to put this movie on because it's really cool. So it's like, it can be on in the background. There's stuff that happens, but it's like to see it as a whole cohesive thing. Like he wanted you to enter the void. Like it's void. Like, you know what I mean? It was hardcore. Like it was.
He is known as l'enfant terrible. He's like a little troublemaker in the film industry and stuff. Like that's the thing about Gaspar that I wanted to go into these movies. I don't want to watch all his movies. I don't think there's a few that I've read full descriptions of and like full plot synopsises and shit. And I'm like, I don't think I need to visually see that anymore because I already have that fucking visual in my head after I've read what happened. His movies are pretty shocking. He started it started a production company, Le Cinéma de la Zone in the 1990s with his wife. His wife is also a director as well. She Lucille, okay, her name is hard. I'm going to try my best. Let's try this. Lucille Amina Hadzijalilovic. Okay. She's Bosnian. She's French of Bosnian descent. Gaspar is French and Argentinian. He was born in Buenos Aires. His dad, Luis Felipe Noé, is a well-known artist and like writer and stuff in his own right. He does his own like trippy stuff. Gaspar art has to push boundaries from him. The thing about Gaspar Noé that I like a lot is he gets movies made. Like he gets people to give him movies. He gets people to give him money to make the movies that he wants to make unapologetically. Yeah. Like, I Stand Alone is his first full-length film. It was preempted by a short film called Carne. And Carne. I don't know. Carne. And they go together. I think he's working on like a release of where they're both together and a thing. But it centers around this man who's like super hateful. He hates young people, old people, immigrants. He's racist. He's misogynistic. And at the end, there's like a whole. That movie's famous because at the end of it, at like the 30s, like you only have 30 seconds of this film left. There's like a warning, like, hey, if you want to leave now, we're just gonna describe to you what happens, and you're fine. You can leave now. But then he lets it play out, and it's essentially like a man has some weird incestuous vision of his daughter and himself killing himself or something. Gaspar love to talk about. He does love to touch on incest. He does love to touch. Yeah, he touches on incest. He touches on like sex is weird in his movies. Like it's hot, but it's also like disgusting, and it's also like it's everything. He gives a pretty grim account of things, but not. You know, like you.
I mean, it's grim, and then it's just kind of like, okay, but how super realistic is that? Very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why it's like, you know what I mean? Like he's letting it be what it needs to be to make you feel a certain way.
Yeah. He's a very outspoken dude. The film after that was Irreversible. So Irreversible, Irreversible. Monica Bellucci and Vincent Cassel. I guess are they a couple, or they were a couple at the time?
Probably they at the time.
So Gaspar, he started art. His family's he started in film and stuff to begin with.
I also feel like French people are not as like shameful and like like things don't bother them the same like they do Americans. So we're just like
a
shame.
A timeline of all this is that he had the idea of Enter the Void 15 years before it was made. It was made in 2009. That's a 2009 film, and he made I Stand Alone and Irreversible to kind of be like, oh, I need the money to make it. Like, if he hadn't have made those and made this, it wouldn't have been the same thing. Irreversible, when he was making that, he was actually planning to make like a softcore porn movie. Now, I don't even think softcore. I think he was like in an interview I was watching, he was like, I was going to make an adult film. I was going to make a porn movie. And at the same time, like him, Lars von Trier's made porn. Like he has a whole company that's how Nymphomaniac was like half porn actors and stuff too, and like half simulated penetration, but the majority of it, like he knows the porn actors, so he can get those penetration shots. And in this, so Gaspar said that he met Vincent Cassel at a club, and they got to talking, and got to meeting him, and then he pitched this idea of he pitched the porn basically. He pitched it on him, just talked about it, kind of making it like more highfalutin and things like that, more heightened. And he was like, I think I can talk to Monica. I think she'd be down, and they were down. They were down, and they're just gonna fuck on screen basically.
Yeah.
And I think that one there was some weirdness with like studio stuff and like management or something like that. And he just like he was making fun of the Hollywood-y type thing where it's like, well, I'm just gonna pitch something and you tell me if it works. And he's like, let's do a rape revenge story told in reverse. And they're like, yeah, perfect, amazing. So he's like, oh shit, I guess I gotta make this movie now. So that's like, it was like, that's how Irreversible came to be. Irreversible also, one of the songs on here is from Irreversible. Thomas Bangalter from Daft Punk, who we just talked about on the Tron Legacy episode, did the soundtrack for that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think we should listen to that soundtrack. I don't know if we should watch. There's a 10-minute extended rape scene in that movie, so I don't know if we want to watch that. Yeah, exactly. So there's that. That's also that's why we're not gonna cover that fucking film on this. I mean, it's Thomas Bangalter, it'd be a whole thing, but maybe we can just talk about it on a mini episode about the soundtrack. all that said, he made his way to finally making this movie. They finally gave him the money. It was through like Wild Bunch and also I think like Canal Plus and all sorts of shit. Like at the beginning, it opens up and you see all the credits. Like it's all the
all the different fonts, all the different like flashes of color, and it's just fast.
He makes different kinds of movies, as you'll see as we progress. We'll kind of keep talking about him. I've listened to a lot of like interviews, and I like yesterday and today I was reading a bunch of stuff too. I mean, last week too. Interesting guy. He wants to make sure that you know he's an atheist. And this movie is somewhat spiritual in a way, but it's also not, because he's intending it not to be told as he's kind of telling it from his point of view, but also kind of in a Buddhist point of view sort of way, which is like the Tibetan Book of the Dead. That's why it's in there and all that. So yeah, all that said, he made this crazy fucking movie. Let's get to the cast list, then we'll talk about like kind of the synopsis of it, because it goes a lot of places. It goes a lot of places, and we'll do soundtrack stuff. Nathaniel Brown was Oscar. What did you think of our main character, whose eyes we are in throughout the whole thing?
So what I noticed in Gaspar's, well, in a couple of them, just when he does make them have their little inner monologues, or they're talking to themselves, or they're trying to hash out an idea.
Yeah.
They're very monotone and very soft. And it's just like, oh, well, I guess I have to go drop this off to this guy.
How do you talk to yourself? Like, yeah,
and it just,
did that remind you of you? Or
no, it was annoying to me.
Oh,
it bothered me a lot, just because like, but then I'm like, is he doing this on purpose so that you feel some type of way about the character? Because I felt the same way about this character, the way I felt about the character from Love, because it was the same little inner monologue, and you're just sitting there like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it made me dislike the character. I mean, it's not like the character's supposed to be super likable anyway, any of the characters. But, like, it just made me dislike the character more. It made me annoyed with, I didn't sympathize with the character necessarily.
No, not even. I didn't either. I didn't, like, I don't think the only person I liked, honestly, was his French friend. Like, I didn't really like anybody in the movie. Like, the fact that he died, like, I think Gaspar does that on purpose, too. He makes them relatable enough so that you know what's happening, but he still just wants you to see whatever fucked up shit's gonna happen to these people. So I don't think he connects you as much to it. And, I think that's also misleading. I think people might think that they're connected. I don't know. I think that, like, how can I say it? There's like a kind of coldness, because there has to be, because fucked up shit happens to them. So you have to like just be prepared to watch the fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. Like Oscar, I didn't really care. He was just like the convoy from which all this happened, and he's also the reason this shit.
That's why I was like, I kind of like, just like as the movie went on, like it was just kind of like he created his own little drama.
Yeah, Nathaniel Brown. Yeah,
and at the same time, like, I know I'm gonna start talking about the plot of the movie, but like the scene where they like chase him into the bathroom, it's like when he started shouting at them, like, I have a gun, give me a gun, I have a gun. I was like, why are you saying that?
That was stupid.
Like, that immediately was like, you literally ran away from police, and now you're saying, I have a gun. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly.
So that already for me was just kind of like, it didn't need to go that route.
Yeah. And yeah.
Like just how it all, like the whole like little tornado, it fucked up everybody else too. Like it wasn't just him that got screwed over. Like, yeah, he died, but everybody else got fucked up.
I'm trying to find who the sound designer was, but I can't. But it was awesome because like that's what I like about this movie. It's experiential in that it puts you actually in the head of him to where like, you know how your voice sounds in your head. There's a little bit lower and it's a little bit more muffled, and you're kind of like but other people hear you differently. They don't hear the bass that's echoing in between your, and that's what you get to hear in the, and like the inner monologues and stuff. I agree with you. I don't just talk to myself like that. Like I'm
That's
like I voice. I have a voice.
I feel like it's like he was whispering to himself, but it's kind of like
he's a director, an actor, and a creative director. Let's see, Nathaniel Brown's worked widely. He's collaborated with Kanye West, Beyonce, Swedish House Mafia. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, he's just like a creative director kind of guy. I wonder if he did work on Donda stuff. Huh, that's wild. Paz de la Huerta. Her full name is Maria de la Paz Elizabeth Sofia Adriana de la Huerta y Bruce. Right? Wow. She's an American actress with that name.
She's American?
She's American. Like she's here. Let's see. She was raised in New York City. Yeah, Lower Manhattan. Her parents are Spanish. What? Her parents are Spanish noblemen Inigo de la Huerta y Osores. So they're Spanish. Spanish, grew up in New York. What did you think of her as Linda, the sister? This is the first time I ever saw her.
They just had a fuck. Like, I mean, they were fucked since they were kids. Like, just the trauma, like.
How do you think she played it? Do you think she was well cast?
I mean, she kind of reminded me of. I just couldn't tell. I felt like it was the same characters from Love, just put in a different setting because of all the incestuousness. That's after, like watching it this time around, I couldn't stop thinking about the other movie.
Okay.
Because we're
going to talk about the other movie when we talk about the other movie. So,
But that's what it reminded me of. It was the same kind of relationship that they had.
Let's see. She became a model in her adolescence. She was a runway model before turning to acting. Let's see. She was in The Cider House Rules.
Oh.
She was in A Walk to Remember. Riding in Cars with Boys.
What?
Yeah, Choke. She was in this horror movie called Nurse that I keep thinking of. I keep hearing of. Oh, she also had allegations against Henry Weinstein. She had.
I believe it.
Allegations.
What
against
character
Weinstein.
did she play in Riding in Cars with Boys?
I don't know. Let's see. I don't know who those. I haven't seen that one. She's the phone call flirt.
Oh, then none. It's because I've seen that movie a lot, and I was trying to think, like, what character was she? But no.
I mean, she went for it in this movie. Like, she did do that. Like, she was in this movie 100%. As many times as I've seen this movie, like, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this acting is bad. Second time, I was like, okay, I get it. I don't remember. I don't know how many times I've seen it, but it like this time around, it was like she can be believable, but she cannot be believable. But yes and no and yes. I don't know. I don't. It's like
the little girl was believable.
Well, the kids,
the little girl they cast to play her as young, like she was badass. But
yeah, that was Emily Allen Lind. And so yeah, it was kind of inconsistent, but. I know also, I don't know. I think it was just like such a dream of a movie too, that I kind of give it a pass. Like Gaspar Noé also described, like he said in himself, like in an interview, he was kind of bullshitting, but this it does have some weight. It does bear some weight. He was like, yeah, I'm thinking of a revenge rape. I'm thinking of a story about like life and death. But like Mulholland Drive or like 2001. I'm like, okay, I could get that influence in the way that they're acting.
Yeah.
And the way that they're delivering their dialogue. I get that. I guess. Yeah, so I don't know. Paz de la Huerta. Cyril Roy as Alex. He was my favorite one in the movie. he was the friend who was the art, and this is the only movie he's been in.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the only movie he's been in. He was the artsy friend who was living with that other Japanese dude who was building like the little city and stuff. He had trippy art. He was kind of like the voice of reason a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he was like an older friend.
Yeah.
Like he's an older guy, like trying to be like, hey, bro, like don't do that.
Yeah,
or,
like hey, you never know,
like,
drug dealing.
I feel like he just keeps on like the whole like since the movie goes in reverse, like everything happens the way it happens, but then you find out everything in reverse. Like, so it's like he already told him since the beginning, like what?
This is gonna fuck you up. No, keep going with your thought. Keep going with your thought.
But I feel like he was the one. It's like he was. I don't know. Like he was trying to like keep him like from getting into whatever he got into.
Yeah, no, I that's why he was my favorite one. And he ends up with the sister at the end. He ends up essentially like birthing Oscar again, being like
because he's the one that he's the one that gave him the whole like
the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
Yeah, like he gave him the book, but he even told him, like I remember they were having a conversation. He was like, yeah, about like you could basically come back as a newborn or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember them saying that, and it's just like, well, yeah, that's why he was trying to find. That's why it was just like that circular of like, where do I need to go? When do I need to go? Where, you know what I mean?
Emily Allen Lind, the one that played little Linda. She was in Doctor Sleep.
Your phone's dark.
She was Snakebite Annie from Doctor Sleep.
Oh.
That fucked me up.
Wow.
She was also in that movie, The Babysitter. Like I guess those babysitter movies.
Okay.
Yes, she's like.
Wow. Yeah. She was good. That little girl.
Yeah. The kid. I mean, you're just like in the behind the kid's head most of the time too. The little young Oscar played by Jesse Kuhn.
I feel like as kids, like she was more like he was just kind of like
because she was like
lethargic, and he's like for everything she was more like vocal about it.
She's on camera. She's the one on camera. She's the main character. Like. She's the main character of the movie. Like it's not. You're not. It's like you're seeing her story through the perspective of Oscar, essentially. Like who is like in love with her, kind of like, and not
because of the whole like we're gonna be together forever. And it's like I get how that line gets blurred, especially like you lose your parents at such a young age, and you don't have any other family. Like what the fuck are you supposed to do? Like I get it. Like I don't.
It's a Gaspar Noé thing.
It's hard for me to process the information, but if it's two agreeing adults, like I don't care. You're brother and sister and you're in love with each other, that's your choice to make.
I don't know.
But like
I get you.
Like I can't judge it. I can't. Like I just can't judge it. But it's like
illegal though.
Also,
you know what I mean?
Like so I'm like, I get it, like when you're like trauma in that way, but it's like how do you decide that? At what age is it okay? You know what I mean? Like, that's where it bothers me. If it's like two grown-ass adults and they're both like firm, like, yes, like I feel this way. Not like a little somebody that can't really like make up their mind yet.
Ollie Alexander as Victor. So you recognize Ollie Alexander?
Yes. He's in a band. Well, I don't think any of it's all the original members anymore, but it was like a trio, or I think it was about a trio, but it was years and years. And now I think it's just him. Like it's just him that's years and years, but it used to be like a band. They were like a band.
Okay.
And he was the singer, and then the other guy would do like the mixing and the whatever, and then they had like a drummer or a guitarist or something.
Okay.
But that's where I knew him from, but I've seen other movies that he's in.
Okay.
So that's how like I recognized him.
He was also in that Gulliver's Travels movie with Jack Black, that movie Bright Star by Jane Campion. So he was pointed out at some point on something else that we were watching or something,
he came
and
out
I just don't remember.
The Dish and the Spoon with Greta Gerwig.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Victor is like a little snivelly kind of quote unquote best friend. He kind of gets sucked into this whole thing. His mom and his dad are having problems too. Oscar sleeps with his mom. I mean, we'll kind of go through it too right now, but um, he has like a shitty end to his story too as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Ollie Alexander, he was all right in this. He was okay. He was good. He was good in this. He was believable. Like when he went off on him, he was like, ah, like yeah, fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like he was supposed to be kind of slightly younger than Oscar.
Yes.
Too.
And like I think it was meant like, oh, Oscar's like influencing him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's also that whole like that's how all of it started.
Uh
Like if
huh.
he would have never found out about him and the mom, like he wouldn't have been mad and then agreed to trick him in the
That's
bar.
true. That's
That's
true.
what ended up happening. He was
Yeah.
mad at him.
Ed Spear as Bruno, the drug dealer, the weird pedophiliac, the bald
bald
dude.
guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He was good he was a creep. He was a good acting creep. And then Mario was played by Masaru Tano. Masaru Tano. So the synopsis of this movie. I mean, we've already kind of given a bit of it, but essentially,
I mean, it's basically like he ends up being murdered by cops for dealing drugs, and then you end up finding out like how it all came to be of like why did he even start dealing drugs in the first place.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, then like you go through like his whole life cycle of as a child, him and the sister, the parents, like
Mm-hmm.
and then that's like I mean that's basically the gist of the movie, and then
Yeah.
you're going back and forth through time the whole movie.
Mm-hmm. Because you're so the first chunk of the movie is told first person point of view through his eyes. You see him actually blinking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he's killed, it's told through the camera, which is like conveying that you're his spirit traveling from his body and witnessing the world around him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then reliving the memories, and it goes through like he was they were orphaned because their parents were killed in an accident. They were split up because they were living with their grandparents, and their grandparents were getting too old to take care of them, so they split them up, put them into foster care, and eventually Oscar makes his way to Japan, and he contacts her somehow, and he's trying to find a way to get money to bring her over, and he gets into drug dealing, and that's pretty much it. And it's a very circular movie. It's that's what it's meant to convey, that whole circular process of like the Tibetan Book of the Dead and such. And it's like the main, and the way I saw this movie the first time was I was searching for movies to like trip out to or to smoke weed to.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reason I saw this movie the first time, and it was like a free. I think I don't know what I had. What did I have? I had like Hulu or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it was on there, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll check this out. And it tripped me out, and it made me horny. And it's also blurring the lines between what's real, what's not. Like even in the interviews that Gaspar and people reviewing it, like they're like, well, is it really? Because also at the beginning of the movie, he goes on a DMT trip real fast, and they're wondering if his death is an extension of the DMT trip, or if he actually died and if he was floating, or if you're on a whole DMT trip with him. That's like kind of like it's kind of left open ended on that end and stuff.
I feel like that would have been more plausible if they didn't show them like carry his body out of there and scrub the bathroom.
Well, that too. I mean,
like,
that could be they're saying that could be a hallucination essentially.
Like it would make more sense if like I don't know. To me, it just seemed more like he's watching all these things happen.
Yeah, I mean that's how I read it. Yeah, that's what I thought of it the whole time. But anyway, that's pretty much what happens in the movie. It's an assault. It's a visual assault. There's a lot of like whirling, swirling colors. There's a lot of cool. I mean, I think they're cool graphics that are like psychedelic and stuff. He does like this is where he kind of takes his visual style to a different level, I think. This is where he's fucking with the camera. This is what like it can get us into love and it can get us into fucking climax and stuff. Like climax being a wild, whirly shit of camera stuff, and like this one, it's a lot of spinning camera. It's hard. It was hard for. It was the hardest one for me to watch for this series was Waves. I think because of the spinning camera and stuff like that. But it was easy, like second half of it when you get to see what's her face's part of the movie. But this one was just like all this. So like there were like I was like when he was blinking, every time he blinked, like that like the strobing bothers me a bit. But if it's in quick succession, strobing doesn't get me too bad. But like the blink, like him blinking and like anytime you
it would just be black and then the picture would come back and
anytime anybody does that to me, like I'm just so annoyed automatically. Like I'm like, no, this is not like don't put your hands in front of my face. Like so the fact that it was just like doing that the whole time, that was getting me frustrated. I don't like that part. I don't like the part before he dies. After he dies, I'm like, okay, I'm along for the ride. Yeah. Yeah, when he dies, I'm along for the ride. But after before he dies,
I just feel like the whole movie is just, it's so hard because there's so much like you're going into things and then you're coming back out of things and then you're like traveling through stuff, but like there's
you go into light bulbs.
Yeah, like you're in through walls and like,
and you're traveling through time. I think that's part of like the conveyance of some of it too. And then like you go inside the fucking toilet that he dies in front of, and then you go inside her vagina, and then you see the dude's dickhead, and you see the cum on the camera.
Well, that whole part I feel was like when it was finally like, oh, this is where I need to go to latch onto this and become a new being.
A newborn.
Yeah. Like he kept trying to figure out like how or what, like how do I become? Because I feel like essentially when the part of Mario and Linda having sex in her dressing room, and he goes inside Mario, and it's like he's having sex with his sister. That before it held on to that for so long, I was like, oh, he's trying to figure out like how can I communicate? Like how can I? Because if obviously you're in someone else's body, like maybe you can speak or say something or like tell her or talk to her. But when it was just like he stayed in there for a little while too long, it was just kind of like I didn't feel that way anymore.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's just trying, yeah. And that too, like, there was a sequence towards the end, as he's going through his memories and he's remembering, like, he's seen his sister stripping, he's seen her bare-breasted, and then he's seen his mom bare-breasted, and, like, he's having the same, he has an Oedipus complex. He has an Oedipal complex.
Well, because, and then that's what is the friend's name? The older guy's name?
Cyril. No, Cyril. Yeah, I mean, Alex. His real name's Cyril.
Okay, I was like, what? Yeah. Okay, so Alex, he even says that at one point about, like, my mother's teeth or something, like, that's the, like, the nutrient or something. He had said something about it. So it's just, like, that's how he comes to life again. Like,
and it, like, it's an Oedipus thing because there is, like, a scene where he's, like, he remembers that he walked in to seeing his mom get fucked and shit like that. And, like, he's seen, like, it's a whole he's a guy he's got some things in his head to work out, but as well as a Gaspar thing. That's a Gaspar thing. It's just it's his things that
I
he's
feel like
working
it's like a French thing.
Yeah,
also,
yeah. In some ways, yeah. Like he's in the interview too. In one of the interviews, like he was like. So on he does this thing. He was talking to the Red Bull Music Academy, and he was introducing several pieces of film that were attached to different pieces of music, and he like talking about them, like, oh, Scorsese does this, and this director does this with this music, and and there was one part where he was talking about like kids, and like the way he kept talking about it, it's like, I think it was that thing where. Maybe he caught himself midway talking about it, and he's like, "No, but you know how kids are so beautiful, and like you know how some people like they're trying to like catch up on themselves by like, no, it's not like that. I think he kept doing that, but it was like kind of weird. It was like, huh, you know, I was like, I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna get into more Gaspar. He's an interesting guy. He's a weird guy, but yeah, this movie's just it's I just remembered it being too much, and it just continues to be too much. It was also like this time around since I've been trying to fall asleep with 2001. I could get that. I got the oh yeah 2001 like the certain vibes like when there's like the web like when he's in the and there's like I felt like that, you know what I mean? Like he's traveling into the unknown, into the void, and all that stuff. Let's talk about this music, and then we'll be good with it, and we can move on to next week's movie, which is also going to be intense. So this is an intense series. It's an intense. This one though, it's like a different type of intense. I think Love will probably be in it.
It's a lot of. I mean, this one is more like like you're overstimulated. There's a lot of visual stimulation, a lot of sounds, like. And then you're trying to figure out, you're like, well, what's happening and where is he now? And like, you don't necessarily, like, it's not one of those where you have to be paying attention, but at the same time, like, you miss little snippets of like, oh, well, he just saw these two people talking and that's what happened and that's how that happened. And like, you know what I mean? So it's an exhausting movie.
It was exhausting. Yeah, like, it's very exhausting.
It's exhausting to watch mentally.
It's very mentally, mentally taxing. That's the movies he makes. LFO's Freak is the first song that we have listed. So we have our own playlist and our own track list, and that this is the way I'm going through the songs. Not necessarily the way that they came out in the movie, but I do have a link of where these songs popped up in the movie, so I'm going to pull that up right now, too. I forgot to pull it up earlier. But this is going to make you freak. This is going to make you freak. It's the when the title credit scene goes to the word enter. This is that's when this plays. Yeah. So yeah, that's when this plays. I thought the whole fucking soundtrack was gonna be like this. That's why I chose this shit. I was like, climax, fuck yeah. Love, fuck yeah. You know, Enter the Void, I know that's a fucking dance record. Nope. Not a dance record. LFO is a British electronic music act formed in 1988. I think we've actually talked about them before. I've actually talked about them before. I don't remember when. But they were on like Tommy Boy. They've done a lot of like remixes. They've done remixes for like Bjork. They've done stuff with Aphex Twin. There's an EP called AFX LFO. That's Aphex Twin LFO. They're on Warp Records now, I believe. Let's see. Oh no, they were on Warp. They were consisted of Mark Bell and Gez Varley. Mark Bell died in the year 2014. He passed away from health complications at the age of 43. So no longer a musical act after his resulting passing. But this honestly was like my favorite song on this whole thing. Just because like the other dancey songs are cool too. But yeah, what did you think about this song?
I mean, that's why I'm saying like a lot of them wasn't anything where I just felt like it was just jarring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't dwell on them too long and like try to listen to them because to me it wasn't.
Okay. Yeah. David Lumsdaine, Pipe Dreams. So I looked this guy up. David Lumsdaine's Pipe Dreams. It was like a. It sounded like a fucking royalty-free type of music type song. That's what it sounded to me like. It sounded like just like a rockin'. But he is an Australian composer, and he has stuff. He's got like chamber stuff. He plays percussion and piano. He's got ballets that he's made. He's got choral music. Huh. Yeah, I think he is. I think it is. I don't actually know if this is the same fucking guy. Huh. He passed away in January 2023. But yeah, I believe this may have been like we're licensing this song. It it's the song that's playing in the background as at the beginning as he's talking to Linda on the balcony and as they're talking about all the shit. So that's what that song was. Let's see. Jamie Dunlap, Scott Nickley, Stephen Lang, In the Middle with You. It's like In the Middle with You was that jazzy song. I gotta do da 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 da. As well, I think that was like a licensing song.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like this one was like all over the place.
That's
like
why,
it wasn't like it didn't feel cohesive at all. It didn't feel like
it was that one played In the Middle with You played. It's the jazz music in the background as Alex is explaining to Oscar about reincarnation. So it's like in a flashback when they're like talking about shit. Or no, when he goes to the apartment, when he meets him at the apartment. Okay, I get that. Weird. Next song I had on the list was David Lloyd and Terry Low's The Crazy Camp. The Crazy. Crazy. That was more Daft Punky. I thought so. It sounds like a song that I would have been into in 2009.
Yeah.
It sounds like when I was just getting into Daft Punk, and that's what I would have been into. French disco-y. Yeah. Any thoughts?
I mean, I could hear how it is Daft Punky, but you know how I am with music and like I'm very particular. So just this whole album as a whole, like I didn't care for it. Like that's just how I felt with the album. Like, I mean, we're not gonna like everything.
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just how I felt with it, where it was just like, this one's not hitting for me. Like, I just don't like it.
Yeah. Because it's also not an album, I guess. Or
I guess any of the songs that were played, like the pick of the songs also, or whatever.
The thing with it all too was like a lot of the sounds in it were songs. Like a lot of the stuff that we're traveling through, that's a lot of the music that's on like in those other playlists and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't like it.
Yeah. But that's why I eliminated that stuff so that I found the stuff that we could listen to. Throbbing Gristles, Hamburger Lady. That I like it for that reason because it says Hamburger Lady. David and the other one, David and Terry Low's. I don't know anything. I couldn't find anything about them. Camp Crazy. It's briefly heard in the background at 19 minutes in the movie. I couldn't find anything about Terry Low's or the other dude, David Loy. Jamie Dunlap, the dude that did the jazz song, though, I have his website here. He's done a lot of stuff for like Disney. He's more of a composer. So yeah, that was definitely licensed music for sure. Throbbing Gristle though, Hamburger Lady. The Hamburger Lady and then the Hamburger Lady OG and Carter Tootie remix were both featured in here. Throbbing Gristle is an English music and visual arts group formed in Kingston upon Hull by Genesis P. Orridge and Kosi Fani Tootie. Genesis Porridge, I believe, does stuff on her own as well. Oh, man, where did I see Genesis Porridge on? Yes, Genesis Porridge. She's done stuff with like Nick Zinner. She's done stuff with Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers. She and herself is just, it's like she was like a performance artist. Like Throbbing Gristle was like that, like tonal, like weird, where they'd have like lo-fi but then weird synths on it, and not really like more song experiments, I guess. That's what that is. I kind of want to get into them more. Like I started listening to them more because of this. It was that, yeah. So but she passed in 2020 as well. She was like the most prominent figure in the band. Let's see, they've got let's see, how many records do they got on there? They've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. They've got about 12 records out themselves. Their last one was as of like 2012. So they were active. They just did their thing throughout the years. Throbbing Gristle. Weirdness. Just weird. Hamburger Lady. When did this come out? Let's see. It came out 23 minutes in. Oscar meets Alex at the Void. Oh yeah, it's this. It is the tune that's playing when he's in the Void. So that's what I was gonna bring up. The bar that they're in, the Void, is weird.
Yeah, it looks like the whatever downtown.
Yeah, it did look like the Whatever Lounge. Did you notice on all the TV screens too? Like every time there was a TV screen, it was like a psychedelic image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, I just like it seemed more like from the outside it looks like, oh, this is a club, but it's like, no, this is a hole in the wall bar. Mm-hmm. Like it was nothing.
Yeah.
On the inside, what it looked like on the outside.
Victor's like, I'm sorry. Because he just fucking set him up.
Yeah, that's that.
And he shouldn't have gone. He shouldn't have fucking gone with all that fucking, all those drugs. He shouldn't have gone with all those fucking drugs. Ugh.
I feel like it would have been if he wouldn't have said, I have a gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
like
was
running
in
there and like trying to flush the pills. It's like, you could have just said like, you know what I mean? Like you could have said anything else, but the fact that he's saying I have a gun and won't come out, like, and you ran away from them. As soon as you saw them, you ran.
His biggest mistake for me was when he sat down, the first thing he fucking says to the dude is like, I have your shit, I have the gear, I have it with me. It's a lot of stuff to carry. And it's like, don't say anything. Like, say hi. Mm-hmm. Say hi first. Don't say that you have the drugs on them, because like then you know what I mean. Like, do they have any precedent to go attack you if you don't say anything? I don't fucking know. Mm-hmm. It was stupid. It was very stupid. Coil ans one Coil. Coil, a gothic rock, dark ambient type post-industrial band musical experiment group. It was a solo project of John Balance from a band called Psychic TV. Oh, I've heard Psychic TV. Cool. Psychic TV was Genesis Porridge and this dude. Okay, cool. That's pretty rad. After the breakup of Throbbing Gristle in 1981, they formed this Psychic TV. So out of Psychic TV came Coil. I remember hearing about Coil via, I want to say, Trenton Atticus. They were in like Trenton Atticus. I think. Let me see, because How to Destroy Angels was named after one of their EPs. How to Destroy Angels is a Coil record, and How to Destroy Angels was a musical project that was made by Atticus and Trent. I want to say Coil, their final place was on Nothing Records, or Nothing Records began like putting out records, like re-releasing their stuff. I want to say something like that. That's where their Trent and Atticus connection are. So yeah, there you go. Coil, yeah. Ons one, it's ambient, it's noise, it's all that stuff. Next song is Ryan Gold and Sid Sonic's Second Sequence, which is a cool fucking song. I do like this song. I don't know anything about Sid Sonic. That one's a cool song. I like that shit. I don't know. It's got a cool groove. To it. Let's see. So Coil's song comes out when Oscar's body is leaving him in the restroom. And then this song. I don't know when it comes out. It doesn't have it here. Yeah. Also on this website, it's like a peer review, like it's like a peer involved type website. So like people can go in and like do like a timestamp. Like this song comes out at 14 minutes. This song comes out at 1 hour. So this song is on the soundtrack, but I don't know exactly when it comes out. Next song on our playlist, Pete Sertival with Psychedelic Guru. Pete Sertival also, he's like a smaller artist, but then again, it's licensing music. Like he's licensing music. Yeah. But this one's like, it's like a wow, like it's trippy. We're fucking doing drugs, man. This is that type of song. That song comes out as Oscar's watching everybody fucking in that hotel. That's the song that's playing. Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, it's like rounding about when he's fucking...
When he's going through all the rooms and seeing who's all in there.
Yeah, and he's finding his way, like, to see what's up. Yeah, yeah.
So is that, like, the way that hotel has the neon sign and it's love all big, like...
I don't know if, like, that's... I thought that... I thought it was supposed...
we know
I thought it was supposed to be, like, I think it was kind of teased up to be like that.
Because honestly, like, I know this movie set, like, they're supposed to be in Japan, but... Like, I don't know where love takes place, but even just being in his apartment and, like, the rooms that they're in look very similar to the sets and whatever on the other one. And remember when I was just like, she must be really tall or the rooms are really... Because she was the size of the door frame.
But it's in Japan. Door frames, smaller. Because people in Japan are smaller.
Yeah.
They are.
But I mean, she's
tall as fuck.
Like she's still
she's
tall.
Fucking tall as fuck. Yeah, she's fucking tall.
The door. I remember I was thinking that it was very like.
Yeah.
I was like, is my perception off, or I'm like, is it me, or is she's really tall?
No, yeah, she's fucking tall as fuck. Yeah. Christopher Frank's Incent. Christopher Frank is a German musician and composer. Oh, that's right. He was the member of Tangerine Dream.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's this song. And it's only like this too. Like it's only like 46 minutes.
46
seconds.
I was like, it's only 46 minutes.
It's only 46 seconds. Yeah, and it's like a little it's like a passage song, and you know what I mean? Like that's what a lot of this was. And then Brian New's Final Solution as well. Brian New couldn't find fucking shit. And then Thomas Bangalter, The End, is the last one on... Well, no, actually, Nadia Faye's Becoming was on our list as well.
It's just so bad.
That song... So, Nadia Faye's Becoming plays when Oscar's going to grab the DMT from the fridge. So all this shit's it's like he uses the extent of this, a lot of the things that we've covered in this podcast where like directors use the soundtrack songs like as background. Like he's just saying like there's constantly noise happening around you, and that's what the soundtrack is. It's like the noise that's around you. You know what I mean? That's what the soundtrack is. It's the noise that is part of everyday life in Japan.
Yeah.
In the drug world of Japan, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, Thomas Bangalter's The End, which was originally on the soundtrack for Irresistible. Thomas Bangalter as well. We've already talked about him with one half of Daft Punk. Most recently, he did the score for that movie Dali. It's another. There's like two Dali biopics out.
Okay.
There's that one, and then there's one with Ben Kingsley who plays. It's called Daliland. Yeah, Ben Kingsley plays Salvador Dali. And that's the soundtrack for this fucking movie. And we talked about this movie. Any final thoughts on this movie? On this soundtrack?
I don't know. I guess it just like it is cohesive in the way that it's all unnerving. Like the whole everything is just meant to be unnerving. So I'm like, it did its job.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It did its job.
Yeah. Everything, the sounds all did their job. The sound design of the movie worked. It is an experience, this film is.
That's why
it's a hard experience.
I wrote menacing, unsettling,
yes.
unnerving, desperate. Like it's just all the feelings you don't want to feel for 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you feel for 2.5 hours.
And it's like, I can watch all the other movies. I can watch Hereditary. I can watch all the stuff that people don't want to watch, but it's just, it was so much of nothing happening with really extreme situations thrown in between.
Yeah, I get that.
So it was like a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, the next
like you're being waterboarded.
Ah, okay. I get you. Yeah. Gaspar's movies do that. They waterboard you. Yeah. And then the next movies don't like his movies, the story structure is weird if there's a story at all. And if there is, you kind of have to pick up on it on your own, essentially.
Yeah. Or he leaves it to where it's like, well, form your own opinion. Like,
yeah.
Feel how you want to feel about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like this one definitely there's a story there. There's like honestly the next few are their story.
And I feel like it was a good story because it was a very fucked up situation that happened and it was the way he chose to tell it that
I think this is a good movie. Like I know that
away from the story for me.
Okay.
It was just the way he chose to tell it and just the direction of where things came and when they decided to pop up for me made it like it made me care less when you know what I mean? Like it should have been opposite, I guess.
No. That's not like but I mean, if anything about all this episode, like I know we're going back and forth on shit. I really like Gaspar Noé. That's why I wanted to do these.
I really
like this movie. Like I like it. Like that's why I've seen it so many times because it could be one of those movies I could just see once and but because it's fucking punishing. But every time I watch it, like for all of my criticisms, I could still watch. Like you know what I mean? Like I still like it. There's still shit in there. There's interesting shit. It's visually like the graphics. I fucking love the graphics. For me, I was one of those, like how I said, like I know I keep saying it's unnerving, unsettling, whatever, but it's one of those where if the volume's just right and it's on, like you can fucking fall asleep to that movie because it's a lot of unsounding sounds. Like it's nothing, like it's warbling and it's like underwater sounding sounds and like, you know what I mean? Muffled and then there's some screaming in between that, but it's just like basically the movie's very mellow. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for me.
But for me, it's not one where I'm like, ooh, I want to watch that again. Because it's like, I'm not watching anything.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah. And this one, I want to watch it again when I want to, like, but it's always a movie that I'm down to watch again. It's hard for me to sit down it's not a by myself the movie. Even though the past few times, it has been a by myself movie, but it is like a movie that you need to experience, I think. And that's why I like him because he is a visual assaulter. He is, for what it is, for whatever flaws these movies have, however, like he's punk rock. Like this shit's punk rock.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's why like I like him as a director. I in general like his movies, but it's like I'm not gonna like everything in
yeah.
This one for me was just kinda like meh.
Yeah, it's not his best. I mean, since there's been more, it's not the best one. Like, how can I say it? Every time I see one of his movies, I get this wasn't as good as the one before. And then I go back and I watch the one before. It's like, no, actually, that one was better. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's been my experience with his movies.
Yeah,
wasn't as good as the one before. I watch it. Oh yeah, I like this movie. Like, and then you know what I don't know. It's just it's the same thing as Yorgo. I like when people can just get crazy shit on camera. And like, without having to be doing it just like, this is for shock value, but it's not, there's a taste to this. You know what I mean? Like, there are things that are out there that are just shock and schlock. Like The Toxic Avenger. Like, you can love it. Like, you know, that's how that, or any of those movies that we watch with fucking Joe Bob. Like, sometimes there's artistic merit to it, but then others, it's like, oh, that guy's just like, it's just fucking.
They just wanted to show that.
It's just, and I love that shit. But I especially love when people can do it like Yorgo, where it's like, that is crazy shit that I'm seeing on screen right
That's why,
now.
He does it so well. Like, he does it with love still. And you know what I mean?
But on the opposite side, Gaspar, it's like a punishing love. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Yeah, like it is like an opposite.
It's the opposite,
it's an opposite.
And it's the cold
it's a different
version
end.
of it.
Yes, there's a colder version.
It's very
because he is, as I've said, like he impresses upon. I don't believe in spirituality. So the coldness of this movie, it does treat it like like when it shows the abortion, when it shows all the, like it treats it with this coldness that he treats it, where I see there's critique of that, because like that, like how you establish a connection with the lobster and stuff because there's warmth there and it's human and this and that. I in, I'm attracted to like the movies that do like I love that, like I fucking love Yorgo, and I'll fucking, I like watching this other shit because there is like a coldness. So it's like you can do fucked up shit to people or whatever in these weird situations, and it can pull, like you can pull, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same point though, I know he's made the rape movie with Irreversible. I don't need to see that. Like I don't need to see anybody being raped. That's like fuck that. Like I don't need it. Like anytime, and then anytime it's come up in a movie and it's like been, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, of course. Like, but like when we're gonna see in Love, like the there's another thing that I'm fascinated with too, with that, with like just like sex in cinema and like hardcore sex in like actual films and stuff like that. I'll talk about that next time. Um, but like in Climax, how it's like I don't like it's fucking there's extremes to everything in that fucking movie, and it's scary in a different way. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. That's what I like about him. But I get like, yeah, like I'm on the other side. Like the warmth is what like I feel you don't is what you identify in like Yorgos. That's not apparent in these
like
ones.
I feel like like he just wants to make it because he can and he knows how and he's gonna make it. Like Yorgos is making. To me, I still feel like it's more of like a piece of art still. Yeah. Like it's still gonna look pretty or it's gonna look really, you know what I mean, weird or whatever. But he presents it like he's presenting it to you. He's this Gaspar fucking, like, it's like he's jackhammering you. Like he's fucking you with his movie. And it's just like, okay, no, like Yorgos finesses and like he lubes you up and gets you ready. Like Gaspar just fucking like pounds you with the information and the imagery and the music and the visuals. Like he's just pounding it into you. Yeah. And that's where I get to like, no. Like I can't take it. It's too forceful.
All right. Yeah. Wow. That's a crazy perspective. That's wild. I mean, that's not a crazy perspective.
No, yeah,
I've never heard that.
That's just how it makes me feel. And I'm just like, I can't. Like, I'm sure other people feel the same way, like with Yorgos movies. Like, that's ludicrous. And I can't believe he showed that. And that's so obscene. And it's just like, but he did it in a way to where it's like, it wasn't abrasive. I didn't feel like I was being attacked.
And Gaspar's kind of
feel violated. And when I watch Gaspar's movies, I feel like that shit's fucking happening to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And it's like, ooh, like scary.
Yeah. I think that's why I like him so much, because his stuff has been the only stuff I can watch and I can be like, okay, there's something there. You know what I mean? But the softies are on that now. Like the softie, like their stuff.
See, and just like that's another thing. Like they do show all the imagery and it's the colors and it's the this and it's the fucked up situations, but I feel like it's still more.
They've done this better. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, like I feel like it was more thought out, and it was more.
They do this way more subtle and
with finesse.
They finesse it better.
More finesse.
And it's the same thing. Yeah, it is the same thing for sure.
Because I love I love fucking whatever they make. I'll fucking watch that shit.
Yeah, like I mean, we're probably gonna spoiler. We're probably gonna cover them before the year's over for sure.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
I think we're gonna cover them. I was actually thinking of replacing this series with them, but but yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they do that. They do that for sure. Yeah. It's as we talk about, like, Gaspar's Gen X. Like there's a Gen X chip on his shoulder where like I was talking about our band, the book that I'm reading, Our Band Could Be Your Life, where I was talking about like Steve Albini and Ian MacKaye, like that Gen Xer way of anti-establishment is, I guess it comes out of a different conservatism, however. It comes out of a different era where there weren't a lot of things that could be said. So if they said things like, like describing hardcore rapes or saying like Albini using the N-word flippantly in songs to try to reclaim it and shit like that, like it's shit like that over time, like time removed, it's like that doesn't stand for the same thing anymore. And at that moment, then you were just pika pika. Like I get maybe you felt like you were being, but at that moment you were. It's like the teenager, like the teen angst. It's that Gen X is like teen angst that doesn't get out of teen angst. I think you know what I mean. And like Yorgo softies, they got the angst, but they've grown up and they know how to harness what the angst is. And Gaspar, I still think is like a form. He's like a pure angst. He's purest in angst, and that's his spot. He found the angst there. His most recent movie is called Vortex, and it stars Dario Argento, and I forgot who the woman's name was. But essentially, it's like Dario Argento is a man. I think he's cheating on his wife. They're older. The wife has Alzheimer's, and like she's losing her memory. And then they have like a fucked up son, and I've seen it listed on Mubi, I think.
See, and that's why like I like to watch, because it's like there are people living these situations. Oh yeah, where it's like every day. It's like what else?
And
like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, so like I get it, and I like that, but it's just the way he goes about it makes it very hard.
It's very hard. Yes, like it's
to like get to the like, oh, okay, like this is what this movie's trying to convey. This is the lesson I'm trying to learn. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a hard director to watch. Yeah.
Did you read it? Did anybody say, like, did you see anything as far as like what people have said about him as a director, like being in his movies?
No, like it's very collaborative. We'll talk about it on Climax, but basically everybody wrote the movie along, like as they were going along. Like they wrote it as they were going along, and like he had input from everybody. Like he's very like he.
I mean, that makes sense, because it's like if you're having somebody play this scene and you tell, what would you do, or what do you think this character would do? And it's like, okay, if that's what you think and you can really feel and you're gonna give it your all, then do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I could see how that would work. Like,
I want to say that in one interview, because we're not going to talk about the movie. In one interview, he was talking about directing Dario Argento, and it was like he didn't like have to like. Dario Argento basically directed himself as he was acting, like, because he knew, okay, I have to have my feet here. He's been doing it so long. And that was just such a cool, I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, it's just like the back of your hand. So it's like, all right, I can act in this movie because I know exactly what the fuck to do.
Yeah, like, where would I want to be, and the camera. And...
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. Yeah. All right. I think we're good with this movie. We've talked about it where we can, all we want to. I think we've talked to each other a lot, tried to hash stuff out. There's some edits in this podcast that you guys are probably not gonna hear. It's been a good conversation. Like
it's been an eye-opening.
No, I love you. No, not even like
you're like, I don't know who I'm sleeping next to.
No, love.
You never know anybody.
No, not even. And with that said, I love you very much, and thank you for watching these crazy fucking movies with me. I know these movies are hard. Like I know.
I'm ready for the next ones again, because I already know how Climax was very like, whoa, like that movie's so hard to watch. But it's just like there's so much good music and like beautiful people, and they're dancing. They're choreographers, like they're dancing.
That's
like
the one
like, you can't not watch it, but it's just like so many things are like, why?
That's
the
one I built this series around. That's what I built this series around, because I want to talk about that one. I kind of want to watch that next, and then watch Love, and then you know what I'm saying. But next episode, you'll be hearing Love. We might just record Love and Climax we'll watch them both, and you know what I mean saying. We might just watch them out of order or whatever. Anyway, yeah. So because as well, so all this music was pulled from the credits. It was pulled from IMDb. It was like that's how I cobbled and whatever playlist I was like sifting through. I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing for Love. Pretty much. Okay. Or it's probably gonna be shorter. It'll probably just be a few songs, which is cool because like that's fine too. After that's Climax, That one's more widely available, but some of the songs aren't, so I'll probably have to put something together there too. I mean, I've been doing that anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty excited about those two. Pretty excited. I'm happy we covered this one. I know it was tough, and to the listeners, yeah, I know it was tough. Thank you very much for listening. Mm-hmm. Casey, anything to plug? Anything?
I mean,
Deep Cuts _ EP at Casey is Harry. We're doing our thing. You've been busy?
Yeah, I'm steady. I'm just doing the thing every day.
Doing the thing every day, steadying. You can find me at www.jjcaballero.com at _JJCABALLERO. We'll listen to you later.